If I wanted to get that information out to the general public, what that study actually said, a study that was conducted by the United States government, I could potentially go to jail. Does that make any sense? It's the biggest fraud that's ever been perpetrated on the United States. That's a proven fact. That actually happened. And that makes me sick, and it also makes me angry. You ask me why I'm doing this? That's why I'm doing this. Right now, the most successful people in the world are prepared for anything that comes their way. I taught myself to ask more questions and how to get more out of life. If you want more, it really can happen, and it's simple strategies and techniques. These aren't pie-in-the-sky things. I'm not one of these guys telling you about how to be successful and never done it. I do it every single day.
This is the Alden Report.
All right, so stop caring. You know, I wanted to be a little bit more provocative and to try and get people's attention and use some of my, what I like to call sentence enhancers, you know, the F-bombs, things like that. You know, I like to call expletives sentence enhancers. But I think people care. I think people actually care too much about things. And caring too much actually inhibits their ability to grow. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, like, it's such a crazy thing to say. Are you saying, Mike, that I shouldn't care about my job, about my life, about my children, about, you know, my work ethic? No, that's not what I'm saying. One of the things that I think is happening, and we talked a little bit about it yesterday. I had a lot of people in my studio yesterday and some entrepreneurs and their mindset and some of the things that they think about. But people care too much about what other people think. And still, even that, and people will say, well, what exactly does that mean? Because I care about my reputation, right? I'm sure you care about your reputation. If you're listening or you're watching, you know, you're most likely, people actually care about their reputation. But the challenge is too many people care about what other people think. The day I stopped caring about what other people think is truly the day where I was kind of set free. Again, it sounds a little weird, but it's a reality. The day I actually stopped caring is the day I actually started to grow. I remember where I was. I remember who I was talking to. And there was actually a real moment in my life where I just said, I am no longer going to care about what other people think about me. And that's a really hard thing to do. It's a really, really hard thing to do. Because it's hard to separate things like your reputation, right? Because people care about their reputation. Everyone really does care about what other people think as far as who you are. I mean, you can't not think about that. But what I'm saying is you know who you are, right? If you're a righteous person, if you do the right thing, if you know, you are on the path of helping people, if you get up every day and you're a productive citizen and you're not a bad person at heart. Now, by the way, there are a lot of bad people on this planet. A lot of bad people on this planet. And those people should care. Because the bad people are the ones that are really setting this society back. And those are the ones that are those are the ones that are looking at you on Facebook, and those are the ones that are trying to bring you down, and those are the ones that are, you know, taking shots at your life. And those are the types of people that we shouldn't care about. And we shouldn't care about what they're doing, and we shouldn't care about what they think about you. And I hope this is making sense. You know, because I was thinking a little bit about it, and I was going to prepare a little bit more, maybe write some things down so we could have a little bit more of an organized thought process. But I think I'm making sense, and I think if you're listening, I think you do understand. But it's also very difficult to understand. What I'm saying is stop worrying about what other people think. And when we're on Facebook, when we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and I'm on all of those, okay? I'm on all of those. We are so worried about what other people perceive our lives to be like. And there's some great articles that have been written recently about how there are so many people out on Facebook and all these other social media outlets where people are they are lying. They are committing fraud. They are lying to themselves, and they're projecting this image. They're projecting this image to the whole world, an image that's not a reality. And the reason why they're doing that is because they care about what other people think about them. They care about what other people think about them. If you spent more time actually working your life and working towards a goal that truly reflects what you're portraying to the rest of the world, then it becomes a lot easier to care less about what other people think. You see, because when I stopped caring about what other people thought about me, I truly was, again, I was set free. I said to myself, I am no longer going to worry about what other people think, how they perceive me. I care about my reputation, so they're two different things, okay? I care about my reputation, but I don't care about some, jerk who feels as though that I'm somebody that I'm not, or I don't care about what, people who see, I'm an infomercial guy. People see me on TV, and maybe they don't like what I do, or they don't like the products that I sell, and that's okay. You don't have to, that's okay. I'm okay with that. But it was very, very difficult to actually come to terms with that, because everybody wants to be liked, including me, okay? Everybody wants to be perceived a certain way, including me. But when we spend so much mental energy thinking about how other people perceive us, it becomes an emotional drain on us, and it brings us down. You see, because if you lived your life the way that you really want to, and you lived your life in a way that is like the images that you're projecting onto these social media outlets, then you won't care about what other people think, because you know who you are. And again, it's very, very difficult to do, and sometimes I forget. And that's one of the things that, about the Alden report and about me that you're going to get. You're going to get true authenticity, okay? I didn't come in dressed up today for this. I could have easily, put on a suit and maybe looked a little bit better, maybe put some gel in my hair. Again, I care about the way I look, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But if you're watching this right now and you don't like it, you don't like what I'm saying, I really don't care. Because I know what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to help people, and I may or may not. And for those of you listening and watching right now, this may or may not be helping you, but I hope it is. And if it isn't, I'm okay with that. And if you don't like my speech, if you don't like the way I look, if you don't like the fact that I didn't put a suit on and came in here and started talking about this, I'm okay with that. Now again, when we talk about reputation, I'm concerned about my reputation, but I don't really care what other people think. Again, I remember the day, there was actually 2 times, and there's almost two different things, and it happened almost right around the same time. And it was early on in my career at Blue Vase, and I was still essentially practicing law for myself, what they say that you should never do. And I second-guessed a decision that I had made from a legal perspective, and I was right. And that day, even though I was right, and even if I was wrong, I told myself that I was no longer going to second-guess myself. Because we can get overwhelmed and burdened by the thought process of saying, did I make the right decision? Am I doing the right thing? But if you truly are a righteous person and you truly are trying to do the right thing and you put forth your best effort and you were wrong, that's okay. All right? That's okay. And that day I happened to be right. And it really bothered me that I second-guessed myself. And I second-guessed myself based off of an opinion of other people who, quite frankly, were smarter than me. But that has nothing to do with it. Intelligence and being smarter has nothing to do with how to be successful in life. And by the way, I'm still figuring it out. But when I figure these things out, I get excited about telling people about these things that I figured out. And they're real things. When I stopped caring about what other people think and stopped second-guessing myself, I went from nothing, from being broke, from being bankrupt. I declared bankruptcy. I had tons of debt. My life was just really in turmoil. I was really essentially living a life that was unhappy. And as soon as I stopped doing that, my life started to get better. Did it immediately change and did I all of a sudden become this super wealthy, super happy, perfect person? Absolutely not. But it allowed me to move forward. And the other moment was, again, right around the same time when I stopped caring about what other people think. It happened to do with Facebook. A friend of mine said to me, hey, did you see what so-and-so said about you on Facebook? And by the way, this so-and-so happened to be somebody that I fired. I fired them because they were just incompetent, and it was just a bad person. And it's in this public forum, and everybody can see it. And I said, no, I don't really care what they say. I don't really care what they're saying, who they're saying it to, who's spreading it, who's forwarding it, who's emailing who's saying what. I don't really care. And she couldn't believe it. She says, Mike, it's really, really nasty stuff. I didn't care because I know who I am. I know what I'm doing with my life. I know when I make mistakes. I know when I screw things up, but I also know, again, who I am, and I know where I'm going, or at least where I'm trying to go. And I see so many people, especially on Facebook, especially on Instagram, and all these other social media outlets, and again, I'm someone who's out there doing the same thing, but the things I post and the things that I say are truly my life. I'm not posting pictures of a perfect life and a perfect lifestyle and all these other things that aren't a reality. To some people, my lifestyle may be, much better than theirs, and quite frankly, it probably is. But that's not the point. Is I really don't care what other people think about what I'm doing. If you don't like what I'm doing, if someone doesn't like what you're doing, stop caring. Once you're able to take that mental energy out and focus on really what the end game is, which is moving forward in life, getting better in life, getting the things you want in life, achieving your goals, you're able to take that negative energy out of your brain and stop caring about what other people think. It's really that simple. And again, once you actually do, and by the way, it's very, very difficult. And I'll be honest with you, that person who said something really nasty about me, and I said I didn't want to know about it, and I didn't want to see it. I went back weeks later, and I found it, and I looked at it, and you know what? It hurt. Because I'm like, that's not me. I'm like, why would they say that? I'm like, that person is just a disgruntled employee, and quite frankly, they're not anybody who I even care about. They're just a bad person. They have everything about them is bad. They do drugs, and that's ultimately why they fired them. They're incompetent. They're just negative, the whole thing. And I read what they wrote, and you know what? And it hurt. And that took negative. It was a negative thing that happened to me, and it made me feel bad. because I'm human just like everybody else. But Napoleon Hill in The Law of Success, he actually talks about this as well. He talks about not really caring at all really about what other people do, what other people think about you. Once you stop that, he tells a story about how he was, when he was younger, he owned a confectionery or a candy factory with two other people. And these two other people essentially kicked him out of his own company, and they trumped up charges, and they made him look like a criminal. This guy, by the way, has written, some of the most prolific success books since the beginning of time. And he talks about what he could have done, could have went after them, could have sued them, could have really made a big stink, essentially. But he decided he wasn't going to, and he was going to move forward because he knew who he was. And I remember reading that too, and I said, man, I had done that a couple years prior. And it really kind of, solidified my decision to stop caring about what other people think. So if you're out there today and you know who you are, okay, if you're projecting an image that is not a reality, you're not doing yourself any good. Because when you go to bed at night and you shut off your computer and you stop tweeting and you stop texting and you stop, posting on Facebook, your reality is right here. Your reality is really who you are. It's inside. You can't get away from that. You can't hide from that. And when you lie to yourself, it just gets worse. And sometimes you lie to yourself so much that you feel as though that it truly is a reality when it's not. And there are so many people that do it. They lie to themselves. And they project an image to everybody else as if they're living this wonderful life, and they're really not. So when you stop doing that, and you should stop doing it today. Stop projecting as if you're somebody else. And stop caring about what other people think. And when you stop caring what other people think, it's one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to stop posting a lot. You're going to post a lot less on Facebook. You're going to post a lot less on Twitter and Instagram and all these other things. Now, I do. I post on Facebook and I post on Twitter. I have a different business than most of you. I have a different lifestyle than most of you. And I post a lot of times to try and motivate people, to try and help people. You know what? And some people don't like it. Some people think I'm pompous. Some people think that I'm arrogant. Whatever it is. But here's the best part about it is I don't care what you think. If you don't like it, don't follow. Don't respond. Don't talk about it. Unfollow me, unfriend me, do whatever you want. I see these people on Facebook sometimes and they say, I unfriended all these people who aren't truly my friends. 99% of the people that are on Facebook that have friends, they're not really your friends. They're not really your friends. It's not really a true social network. They say if you can count, 5 friends on your hand, you're doing something pretty good. And it's hard to step back and sometimes do that. But again, what we're talking about is caring less. And not caring at all about what other people think. So I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't care about your life. I'm not saying don't care about your job. I'm not saying don't care about, other people. Okay? But what I'm saying is stop caring about what other people think about you. And the other thing, and I just touched upon it briefly, is stop caring about other people's lives. Focus on your own life first. Focus on where you are. Focus on where you want to go. Because so many of us can be envious of other people's lives and we can be jealous of other people's lives. And I get caught up in it too, and everyone gets caught up in it too. Now, there's nothing wrong with looking at someone and seeing where they're at in life and wanting to be where they're at in life. But don't care about it so much that it becomes a negative thing in your brain. right? You're worried about what they're doing or what they're saying or what they're going. You're worried about your friends and they got a new car or they're going on vacation and their kids are perfect and you're worried about that and you're starting to say to yourself, man, that guy's an asshole. And maybe he is. Maybe, again, you know what? Sometimes I am too, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. Stop worrying about other people and what they're doing and focus on what you're doing. Once you start to do that, once you start to realize that, you know what, your life, the only person that's really going to impact where you're going to go in your life is you. The people that you follow on Facebook and your friends on Facebook, it's not a reality. And everybody knows it. Look, I've been, I'm just as guilty as others sometimes in my past of posting things. You just want everybody to think your life is great and you want them to see your new car and all these other things. And it's just not a reality because maybe you did get a new car, but guess what? Now you're, paying, $800 a month for this, new Mercedes that you can't afford anyway, and you shouldn't even be driving it because you're living in your parents' basement. But you got this nice Mercedes, so you want to project this image that you're, this very successful person. Now, that person I just described, a lot of people they care about him, and they say, man, how did this guy do that? Right? And the person that I just described did that because he cares about what other people think about him when he should really be focusing on where he should be going and not getting that Mercedes that he should have never got anyway. But the only reason why he got it is because he cares about what other people think about him. I mean, it's just a fact. It's a reality. It happens every day, but no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to think about it. No one wants to act like that they're that person. But a lot of us are. And we care too much about what other people are doing and what other people think about us. If you live your life in the way you truly believe you should be living your life, then nothing else matters. Because then your reputation will be what you want it to be. You notice I said I was concerned about my reputation. I don't worry about my reputation. That's another thing too. And we're all worriers. Everybody worries. In this day and age, what is going on right now in society, it is very, very scary. What's happening, the shootings and the environment and these religious organizations, these pseudo-religious organizations and all these crazy things that are going on in society. Everybody's worried. We're all worried about everything. But what I tell people is try to worry less and try and focus on the things that you truly can control. Focus on your life. And if you're worried about something in particular, well, why don't you try and do something about it rather than worrying? Because it actually mentally feels a lot better to actually try and do something than worry about it. See, what I tell people a lot of times what I do is rather than worry about something is I prepare. I prepare for the future and what may happen. And I don't worry about it. So many of us can get paralyzed by worrying, and it's just a made-up thing. A lot of it has to do with us watching the news. I can't stand watching the news. One of the things that made me come here and talk about this today is when I've been watching the news of late, and I noticed that I started getting worried myself. But there's nothing I can do necessarily other than focus on my life. And if there are certain things out there that I want to change, well, then I need to go out there and do that. Right now, I'm focusing on my life and my family and my business and what I can do to secure my future. That's what I'm worried about. Not really, though, right? I'm not worried about it. I'm preparing for it. I'm preparing for it. And it's very, very difficult to not worry. So, stop caring about what other people think. Stop caring about other people's lives. Again, what I mean by that is not, it's not, hey, don't care about what your parents or they need help or any of that stuff. It's stop caring about what other people are doing. Stop being nosy. Who cares? And then stop worrying. Not the easiest things to do. The first two are quite frankly the easiest. Now, the reason why the first one may not be easy for you is because, again, maybe you're not living the life that you know you should be living. Maybe you're doing the wrong things. Maybe you're doing drugs. Maybe you're out there living a life of crime. Whatever it is. Well, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you not to care what other people think, because if you're a bad person, and then you really don't care what people think, well, then you're probably a sociopath. And I'm not talking really about that. I'm talking about real productive citizens. And quite frankly, I don't think any sociopaths are watching this, so, it's, too bad for them. Stop worrying about what other people think. Stop worrying about other people's lives, okay? And then just stop worrying altogether. Do me a favor. Try it for a week. Try it for a week and see what happens. See if you get more done in the day. See if you're happier. And at the end of the day, all this stuff, all we're really talking about is about being happy. That's really all this whole thing. That's why we're here. It's not about the money. It's not about the cars. It's not about the houses. It's not about the watches. It's not about any of that stuff, because if you're not happy, none of this stuff matters. And for me, it's always a struggle, so to speak. There's always obstacles. There's always going to be struggles. There's always going to be heartache, okay? But that doesn't mean you can't be happy. Life isn't always easy, but it doesn't mean you can't be happy. And when you stop caring about what other people think about you, and you stop caring about other people's lives, and then you stop worrying about things you can't control, it's amazing what happens to your brain. All that negative activity is gone. Now you have all this other free space in your brain to do other things, to do the things that you know you should be doing. So, that's my 2 cents for today. Again, my name is Michael Alden. We're here in Blue Vase Studios. And I really hope that listening to this and to my other broadcasts and my future broadcasts truly does help you, because I enjoy doing this, and I feel as though the things that I've learned in my life and the things that I'm doing right now in my life and the mistakes that I've made in my life can actually help other people. So again, my name is Michael Alden, and we'll see you next time.